Tripura's new Chief Minister Biplab Dev has been hitting headlines for a series of statements that some call controversial and others bizarre. The latest comment has wire agencies quoting him saying that instead of running after government jobs, graduates should have cows and sell the milk to earn up to 10 lakh rupees in 10 years. Another option offered by the CM is that unemployed youth could set up a paan shop. Now, while Biplab Dev has been criticized for these comments, it is in line with what the central government has been saying for a while now, moving the focus from salaried jobs to self-employment. So we thought it is important to look at this policy push. So can selling paan or pakoras be the way forward to solving employment issues? Simply put, is self-employment the answer? To speak on this, I'm joined this evening by Gopal Agarwal. He's spokesperson of the BJP and heads the economic affairs cell of the BJP. Congress spokesperson Priyanka Chaturvedi is joining us in on this conversation. And I also have with me Rituparna Chakraborty, co-founder and executive VP of Team Lee's Services. Welcome to all of you and thank you for speaking with us. I'm going to begin with Rituparna. Rituparna, I want your take on the basic policy issue. And of course, we'll come in a bit to what the CM of Tripura is saying. But the push very clearly is on self-employment. I want you to break down for us whether this is a theory that works to solve the employment issue, get more people to start their own businesses, even if they're small ones.
Thank you, Tamanna. It's sad to be speaking under the circumstances, which is quite hilarious. India already has 58% of the workforce in self-employment. And so essentially the poor, they can't afford to be, unemployed, and hence they are self-employed. Now, I've been sharing this with all of you, and I'm going to repeat myself. India doesn't have a job problem. Anybody who wants a job has a job. What we are facing currently is a wage problem. Essentially, the kind of wages people aspire for and should have, they don't have. The kind of dignity of work that they should have, they don't have. The kind of social security protection, the basic protection that they should have, they don't have. And hence what India needs today is a formal job. So essentially there are enough number of people who are already milking cow, taking care of, a lot of people are hanging around agriculture. There are a lot of people already having paan shops, but that's not going to solve the problem that exists at this point of time. And hence, the focus for policy making has to be around formal job creation. Because it's interesting that India has been able to, whatever's been going on in this country, in this economy, has been on the basis of 90+% of the workforce being in the informal sector. And that's not how you become an economic superpower. That's not the future that we hope for India. Okay. And hence, that's it.
Okay, thank you for putting that into perspective, Rituparna, but do stay on with us. I want to get in Gopal Agarwal, spokesperson of the BJP. So what seems to be the plan here? On the one hand, and I'm not focusing too much on the string of hilarious comments which has come from the Chief Minister of Tripura. Perhaps he was taken out of context. But on the jobs bit, this seems to be the push that we can't give you jobs, go find them yourself. But is it equal to having a formal job? That seems to be the wrong approach. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Agarwal?
No, the thing is not we don't have a job is a different issue which you are talking. That's one part of it, that the formal job which are with the in relation to the government or private sector jobs, that is the scope of that job sector is limited. And India has a huge population, and every month around 10 lakh people entering for the job sector. No formal economy in that sector can provide job. The only sector where economic development or job creation takes place, it is not in India alone, but across the world, is manufacturing sector, and that is too also MSME, small and medium enterprises that can create jobs. And the government is providing the total support to that sector. We are not saying that we cannot give you find your own job.
No, that's not the question I'm asking, sir. Why the push on paan and pakoras? Because that is not the solution, clearly.
No, that is a different issue. Then that time you are talking of dignity of labor. Every self-employment, we have a large section of informal sector which is doing small businesses, which includes selling pakoda, which includes pawn shops. But it is not that this is the only way we can have jobs. We are developing IT sector. We are developing.
Yeah, no. Let me bring it back to the issue. Now I want to bring in Priyanka Chaturvedi here. Here you have a situation where you have an elected chief minister telling graduates. Please remember the context of this comment. He's telling graduates that instead of running after government jobs, do something on your own. Priyanka, you will have to admit on the face of it, there seems to be some sense in that solution, would you say? Maybe not sell milk and paan, but we do have an issue of very few government jobs and too many educated youth only focusing on those jobs which are just not enough.
No, the issue is not just about the government jobs. It is about jobs at hand and jobs that country is being able to generate as per the expectations and the youth that is going to be joining our workforce. That is our challenge. And our challenge cannot be addressed by brushing it away, brushing it off by saying, पकोड़ा तलना भी एक जॉब होता है, पान बनाना भी एक काम होता है, पशुपालन करना भी एक काम होता है. That's not the answer. How are you skilling this country? If you are skilling this country, do the skill sets match the aspirations and job requirements of the day? Is this the sunrise industry? Address the, you can have, we have a tourism industry which you can, is a low-lying fruit right now, which if you start working on it, you can create lakhs and lakhs of jobs in that sector. However, we are not looking at those. What we are justifying is the growing joblessness and skill sets not matching the workforce aspirations and a company's requirements. That is what is not being addressed, and that I think is what leads to ridiculous statements coming right from the Prime Minister to a Chief Minister of Tripura. So while on face value we might all say yes, there are not enough government jobs. Of course, there are not many private sector jobs. There are not many public sector jobs at hand. So we do create businesses, but businesses cannot be the ones being created because you have no other option. Like Taloing Pakoda, a PhD graduate who graduates, you cannot be telling him that, listen, this is the job which is available to you. This is not what he was aspiring to be when he was pursuing his PhD degree. So we should be, our skill set should be matching the workforce aspirations and what the companies are looking for. And if we do have some sunrise companies, sunrise industries which we could focus our policies on, perhaps we would be able to get into job creation also, or even get the youth to create businesses in the sector which are growing. AI is one of them, artificial intelligence is one of them. In terms of digital economy, we can create many jobs. I've already given you an example of hospitality industry, tourism industry that India can thrive on.
Sure, I want to come to the point of government jobs in a little bit of more detail. And Gopal Agarwal, I'll come to you on this. It's been reported that just a few days ago, there were 90,000 jobs in the railway which were on offer, 23 million applicants for them. Whenever you have recruitment drives in the police service or in any government section, you have multiple times the applicants, many of them overqualified for that specific job. The concern, Mr. Agarwal, is that the government is not being able to deliver its promise and hence is changing the rules of the game, changing the parameters and saying, okay, go employ yourself.
No, this is not the issue. When you are working on a proper plan, we are accepting that the job sector is a problem of the economy, and it is a problem not only we have created, it is a legacy problem also. We have a very large population, and when you see why our 70-60% of the population is employed in agriculture over since independence, why there was not the manufacturing sector which could employ 50% of our population as in the advanced countries. Are we responsible for all this situation? We are trying to correct it, and for that correction, we are giving mudra loans, we are hand-holding, we are providing market through GEM, government e-market, we are providing them...
Sir, in the fourth year of your term, if you're going to start saying, am I responsible, it's not going to give people a lot of confidence.
No, I am telling you what we are doing for manufacturing sector, so that self-employment increases. And in that addition, we have to change the mindset also, because everybody is running over the years just to go for the government job. And government job, moratorium of government job is over last 10 years. It is not that, over 2-3 years this moratorium has come.
Well, the question is, what are you doing about it? Anyway, I'm just going to...
what I'm telling you.
No, I'm just going to come. You mentioned 2-3...
manufacturing sector, a mudra loan, 11 crore mudra loan and 40% new loan means they have set up their own businesses. That's what we are trying to tell people, that there is a problem of the job. Go for self-employment, go for entrepreneurship, and the large development of the economy takes place from this sector. It is a sunrise sector. It is a growing sector.
You've said mudra loan about 3-4 times now, so I'm going to come to Rituparna on that. You know, the big model as the push for unemployment and self-employment from the government, and the spokesperson himself keeps talking about the mudra loan. Now, what is the average ticket size of the mudra loan, and is it really enough to create industry or the kind of businesses which will improve the lives of people, which is at the end of the day the purpose of employment and jobs?
Okay. I think first and foremost, we need to be honest to solve the problem. This is a problem which has been breeding in the country for 71 years. And hence, it's to fix that problem, I don't think, just a button cannot be switched on or off, right? So let's just be cognizant of that fact, and before we end up politicizing this entire issue. So the issue right now is that to be able to create enough formal jobs, India needs to create enough formal employers. India is currently a hostile habitat for entrepreneurship, and that needs to be fixed. We have on any given day about 45,000 people putting up jobs in a place like Naukri. Only 15,000 are doing that on a recurring basis. So essentially, it's not just about fixing one thing. It's about fixing multiple issues. Too many people crowded in the cities. There are not enough jobs going out to the smaller locations because it's just not possible to bring everyone. So we need to fix the physical geography of work. Sectoral geography of work. We just heard 58% self-employment, only 12% manufacturing employment. There are about 80% of the manufacturing that happens in this country employs less than 20 people. And hence we need to do the necessary, fixing of land acquisition, having access to power, supply of having transport facilities, basic infrastructure facilities to encourage manufacturing in the first place. Our education system is also quite messed up because almost 80% of the kids drop out by the time they reach class 10. So even if you create jobs, honestly, you won't have the skills to employ them. And eventually you will lose those jobs to automation or to other countries. And finally, it's about the legislative context. I mean, our laws are archaic, our laws are prohibitive. It's actually not encouraging job creations. I have seen steps being taken. Let me be honest. I have seen initiatives in the form of Make in India, ease of doing business, smart cities, even in terms of the 4 labor codes. The point is, right now, we need to ensure that the rubber meets the road. Because when that starts happening, when all of this starts firing together, only then we will be able to see the formal job creation happening. Otherwise, it will just remain a conversation point in debates like this.
No, that's an important point. I want to just bring in Priyanka on that point which Gopal Agarwal also made, and Rituparna also said that this is not a new problem. And India has not been an easy place to create business and entrepreneurship. And the Congress party and its legacy will also have to take responsibility for that situation.
No, Tamanna, the Congress party has never shied away from taking any responsibility as far as its governance is concerned. What is a matter of concern is that you have a party in power which made all this an issue in 2014, promised to the people of this country, the youth of this country especially, sought votes on the basis of being able to provide 2 crore jobs per annum to the youth of this nation. Where are those policies is my question. And I'll just throw out a few figures. It's not about politics. It's about trying to understand the challenge that a demographic dividend can turn into a demographic disaster if we don't take the right steps now. India needs to create 3 to 4 crore jobs annually. And at this point right now, as per an ILO report, we are losing 30 lakh jobs annually. 27 sectors have seen job losses. People have lost their jobs in 27 sectors. Some of them coming 1.49 crore people lost their jobs in the farming sector. Now we talk about agriculture is one what I've mentioned to you. If you look at construction, 8% job losses, and these are not quotes coming from the Congress party. It is coming from an RBI survey. And even Niti Aayog, the second challenge the country faces is of underemployment. So when I mention a PhD holder being asked to sell pakoras is underemployment. This is someone who's trained to do something else is being expected to do something else because we haven't been able to create jobs as per his skill set. So these are the dual challenges that the country faces, and it is not about politics. It's about taking the country in the right direction because we owe it to the young of our country.
No, and it is about politics because people should vote for, the government or the parties who have a clear plan. Mr. Agarwal, you've spoken about Make in India and Mudra loans. When is all of this going to start showing? Because so far, it is disturbing, sir, to have an elected chief minister tell graduates to sell paan. And even though he was talking in the context of government jobs, it begs the question that where is the vision and where is the plan?
I give you some data. There are registration and indirect taxes before GST was implemented. It was around 70 lakhs. After GST, the total registration of businesses coming into the formal sector has increased to 1.8 crores. That is an increase of almost 50% from informal to formal, one thing. Second thing is when you get a job data on the EPFO, 3-4 days back, they said there is a new registration of more than almost 31.1 million. So that shows that people are being registered. I gave you only 40% new loans in Mudra scheme, 2.5 lakh loans per year for women
average
and
loan size, sir. What is the average loan size? Because some people say 40,000 rupees and thereabouts. How are you going to create a business which will thrive and employ several others in that kind of loan sizes?
No, but 40,000, I agree. Mudra loan size is 40,000 average. From 50,000 to 10 lakh is the loan size. But at least you create a business for your own self. That's what the thing is. If you have a population...
You brought up the EPFO data. I'm glad you brought up the EPFO data and the other formalization data. And I want Rituparna's take on this very quickly because today the situation is where the government is saying is not as bad and the definitions are being changed. The government will now look at even businesses who employ 10 or less people as formal employment. So here you're changing the parameters. Does it really change the facts of whether these jobs are uplifting people's lives?
Refer to the EPFO data and the data which I think ESIC and NPS also has come up with. So the relevant ones are the EPFO one and the ESIC one. Now, if the question is about job creation, the answer to that is these data actually is indicator of definite formalization of jobs. Essentially, there were a lot of employers who used to have people but engaged through informal channels. Now, big, small, everybody does it. Essentially, some of the benefits which have been declared in the recent times during the budget actually are probably encouraging employers to bring these people in their formal job foray, which means they are getting access to PF, ESIC. Now, that is a desirable outcome because those people were engaged through informal channels and they were getting paid in cash or through vouchers. Now they have been formalized. Essentially, now not just EPF or ESIC, we have to ensure that they are covered under minimum wages. So there is an element of transformation which is happening in the type of employment. Now the question is that are we creating enough jobs? Well, of course, these figures are very much debatable, but given that there is an estimated about 12 million kids are getting added to the workforce every year, are we creating 12 million? The answer to that is no. And even if one were to look at the data that have surfaced, the number comes to around 6.5 million. As a practitioner, my challenge is that I have jobs. Through different employers, we have jobs which go begging. I mean, I am able to convert only 30% of the jobs because the bigger issue right now is that the youth are not getting skilled adequately and there are not enough guidance being provided in terms of what is it that they need to skill themselves in. And of course, the infrastructure is right now weak. So when we are talking about jobs, we cannot talk about it until unless we're also talking about the skilling program. And
Absolutely.
The skilling
Absolutely. You know, I want to round off with one question to Priyanka Chaturvedi. As a member of the opposition today, and as we're going into the next big general election, what is the plan that the Congress party has? Because today the BJP-led government says that we have started Mudra loans, we're pushing Make in India, we're doing smart cities. It'll take some time, but at least we're trying. Is there a concrete plan from your end, Priyanka?
No. So one thing I'd like to mention, Tamanna, all these plans sound very exciting, and that's something even Sri Rahul Gandhi said, that these plans could have achieved greater targets, greater momentum and created more jobs for the economy if there was a vision behind it. If their vision is only to create noise about it, to generate PR out of it, generate marketing out of it, then perhaps they've achieved their goal. However, in the Congress, the goal is very clear, that we need to take the nation ahead. We need to ensure that our demographic dividend continues to pay dividend to the nation and continues to build a happier nation. And if we need to rework on these policies, if we need to create more policies, if we need to create an ecosystem which promotes sunrise industries, employment generation in the sunrise industries, creating more entrepreneurs, creating big entrepreneurs, not just small or medium enterprises, but both, keeping a balance of both, would be our policy vision, and ensuring that our youth get an education, a skill set which is deserving of the jobs that they seek or the future that they wish to build in a nation like as big as ours.
No, that's fine. But you know, I really think now when we're talking about the political discourse in context of jobs, it's good enough, or you know, for now, for politicians to, you know, point fingers and make fun of some bizarre statements which come from a chief minister. That's fine, but I think it is also time for the opposition.
Pointing a finger at anything. We were talking about our own vision.
No, I think I'm just saying, absolutely. My only point is, Priyanka, the voters deserve concrete plans from both sides as we go into the next elections on what actually will be done.
Absolutely.
Instead of just saying what isn't working. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, thank you for joining us. We hear that Mr. Biplab Dev is going to be spoken to about his series of bizarre statements. But the big issue we were discussing here is whether self-employment is really the answer. Thank you, Rituparna, for adding so much perspective to that conversation.